It's time.
All right, we're back. It's Super Bowl week, baby.
Doesn't feel like it though.
I mean,
I think there's just less hype around this Super Bowl.
Because no one hates either. It's not a hatred game. Usually there's like everyone hates Tom Brady. We don't want them to win. Someone else on the other side. This one's like specifically for me. I obviously will talk about the game, but I'm good with either team winning. There's really cool stories on both sides.
Right.
I'm really excited about the concert at halftime, though. I promise you that. But we'll get to that.
That will be
It's
cool.
not a fandom game either. Like I mean, I know
Correct.
a couple Bengals fans. I know
Rams fans, obviously, because we're closer to St. Louis.
I mean, but really, I think I know more Bengals fans than I do Rams fans.
That's fair.
So I mean, it's like 3-1, but
It's not like I have a lot of friends at all.
yeah, like, it's just less buzz, I guess.
So we're do a little recap of the conference championships, right?
Yeah, so we'll start with AFC.
Wait, what about the Pro Bowl?
We're not going to talk about that. We'll do a little recap of that.
Things that never to be mentioned again.
Speak about some other things in the news in between. We'll dive deep into the Super Bowl, obviously, and then we'll do little prop bets, little proppy props.
That'll be fun. Those prop bets are going to replace our, if you followed us in the past, we had our best bets for money line locks, spread locks, over under, different stuff like that. They're going to replace those and prop bets that we love for the Super Bowl.
We've been over on that, just for everyone in their life to know.
Our stipulations and our requirements on
We're
there,
steep.
they definitely make it a lot tougher.
They were steep. They were
I mean, if we just went, okay, pure underdog and I could pick a pick-up line, yeah, well, I'm going to get a lot more of those right. Or if I could take somebody that was minus 250 or 750.
We don't need to bring up
Shots
college
fired.
basketball.
Sting.
And the way the
Shots
teams
fired.
have lost too are it's ridiculous.
Just think if you put the money on the 3,500 underdog, whew, be rich. You had your own plane.
I lost in 1850. Okay, let's not. We don't.
I'm sorry.
I have not lost the 3,000.
Okay, that's fair.
Just
That's fair.
1850's been the worst.
Sorry, shouldn't bring up basketball on here anyway.
I lost I know we're divulging, but I lost a 1250 live with 5 minutes left.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Twitter banter about how many bad beats have been out there. A lot of first half dominations, and then some losing.
Well, that
games that have.
that was one of them that was in your parlay. They were up by 12 at halftime.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They lost.
Why they call it gambling, folks.
Speaking of, Stoy, we were just talking about this before. Like, we want to reiterate to the fans out there, this is legit us betting for fun. We're not trying to make a living off of this. No. We're literally three guys, four guys having fun with these bets. Are we gonna throw some money in there?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we're not trying to say, hey, these are guarantees and you guys are guaranteed to make money off of that. We're not going to say that.
No, and I think it's important for people to understand that this is an addictive thing too.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
And if you are in that realm, do get help, right? But also, yes, there's people out there that do this for a career and they're a lot better than us. You should follow them.
They're not that much better than us. That's the crazy thing. They're just more
percentage-wise.
They're more committed.
They're more committed, right?
Yeah, probably a little smarter. Do a little more research.
Whoa! Don't say
not
smarter.
IQ smart.
Oh, got you.
Gambling smart.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like
But
street smarts versus book smarts.
They have like their exact units down to a science that they're going to go, I'm going to put this unit or half a unit, 3/4 of a unit on these.
They have their strategies.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
Don't. We just like this and like that.
Yes.
That being said, though, those people and other people can reach out to us at Black Mammoth because we can help you with your money.
Amen.
Sponsored by Black Mammoth. All right, we're done with the plugs. What game do we stop? Let's start with the Rams-Niners because I feel like the other one was more intense.
Yeah.
Personally.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So
going into that game, what did you think?
The Rams-Niners?
I
honestly, going into that game, I mean, and I picked it in the spread. You can see it here. I didn't think the Rams were really going to have any trouble. Now, did I think that they were going to go off and score 40 points? No, because the San Francisco 49ers have a good defense, and they've showed that in the playoffs. But I also didn't think that they were going to have to come from behind to win this game.
I didn't either. I think the most disappointing thing was their D-line was a non-factor for 90% of that game. I mean, late, yes, they did some stuff, but majority of that game, the designs by Kyle Shanahan with his O-line really took away the Rams D-line for majority of it.
Yeah, I think that was the whole
obviously
game
by
plan,
design.
though. Like in the back of your mind, like the 49ers were kind of, that team that was built for the playoffs. They got the tough Deebo Samuel runner. They've got, if Garoppolo doesn't make mistakes, the quarterback that is, just slightly above average, but isn't going to get you beat. Inevitably, we know how that game ended,
right.
And he, Garoppolo. But
he went full Garoppolo.
They're just a gritty team.
You got Kittle, and you got that defense that just doesn't really have any big names, but they're going to be out there. They're going to fight, and they're going to they grinded into the playoffs. They beat came back from 2 scores down to beat the Rams to make it in the playoffs last week of the season. So they were 2-0 against the Rams. Just hard to beat a team 3 times, yes, but also giving you confidence that they're not going to blow us out.
Right.
I mean, we beat them twice. Like, they might beat us, which, obviously ended up happening. But I don't know. That game kind of went exactly how I anticipated, other than, I didn't necessarily see him getting down 10 points or whatever it was. Stafford was a hero.
The hero. Or Detroit. Their fans are like hurt but happy.
Right.
They're just like,
oh yeah, there were all kinds of Detroit fans.
Emotions everywhere.
Like, oh yeah, we love Stafford.
Yeah.
We knew he'd do this.
Right.
And it's like, did ya?
But you hated him a
Right.
few times, so let's calm that down. I thought personally, I thought Kyle Shanahan blew another game. Now not as severe as the ones in the past, like the 2 Super Bowls that we're not going to mention. But I believe that, again, when he has a big lead late, I just think his play calling is just not. It's not what it should. What I would think it would be, to run the ball, waste some clock, get some play action. Now the Garoppolo late pick.
It's just him trying to.
It's him exactly at that point.
Yeah.
Is what it is. So
the biggest
that,
play in that game was when they didn't go for it on 4th down, and they should have.
Yes, agreed.
And when you have, the week before, the highlight of the week before was either 3rd or 4th and short, and you had Williams going in motion downhill and just lead blocking, and it's like
that
we'll get you and I, they could have handed us the ball.
We could have limped across
7 yards deep, and we could have limped across for a first down. It's like, man, you got that. And you've got the physicality, you got the mindset. That is what you are. That's why you are here. And we're gonna punt the ball back.
I know.
And lose the. Lose the game. So that to me was just the one thing. It was put all the other stuff out there. Obviously, Shanahan's got history with blowing leads.
Yeah.
But to me, that's just, he was scared, and there was no reason at that point that
to be.
You got the juice, you got Kittle, you got, Williams coming. You've got options on, you're going to hand it to the running back, you're going to hand it to Samuel. And you're one of the most brilliant offensive minds in the league, especially from running plays.
You have one.
That's a team who sealed games on 3rd and long with running plays the previous 2 weeks. And you can't tell me you can't come up with 4th and 1. I got a lot of faith in what's in here, and I think he just, honestly, I think he choked a little bit. He got a little butt tight.
Yep. Probably because of his other.
Got a little tight.
His other losses in big games have been because he's been too aggressive. And to me, now running the ball on 4th and 1 isn't, I would deem aggressive.
Right.
I deem that the correct call. Mm-hmm. But I think that's, he just second guessing himself. Got a little tight. Sphincter got a little tight, and they lost the game.
Up. What? And I'd have to think back or try and rewatch. But what part of the field were they on when that happened?
45.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Plus,
I'm trying to imagine 45. It in my head. I can imagine the scenario.
I want to say it was a net 19 or net 21 yard.
We're
gain is what they
analytics. Everyone in the stadium, you go for it on that. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
You're not going to get your net 19, 20.
We've seen way more aggressive play from him and all the other coaches in the league right up to that point, especially in that game where that is a slam the door in the face first down if you get a first down there. And just didn't make it happen.
Absolutely.
Didn't even attempt.
So overall, I mean, it was kind of a mixed bag on this game for us. We got the money line right. All of us missed the spread because we liked the Rams, and then the total. Only one of us got the under. Everybody else had the over. I mean, looking back at their past games, it probably pointed towards the over, and I think money was on the over at the time that we were talking about this.
Yeah. Well, but they came out. I was like, the Rams are going to now have to score,
right?
And so it's going to push it up even more. So it didn't.
Yeah,
They settled in, which was
the Bengals defense, man. I don't know any of them. Like a couple of them, and if you said names, right? Yep, exactly.
Geno Atkins,
the one dude. The DN, the white DN.
Yeah,
him.
Henderson.
Yeah,
there you
go.
I
like him.
Well, that's fine.
That's all I got.
I'm good, but that's my point.
Yeah, I know.
But they, shut down Mahomes in the second half.
They know something. Now, I would love to know. I would love to be in those defensive meetings because the confidence they had all game long.
Right.
Not to mention this game, but the previous game. Mm-hmm. They just knew something that they knew that they weren't going to get blown out.
Right.
Now they basically, did. But it just seemed like their swagger and their demeanor was like, it don't matter at the end of this game. We're going to have a shot.
Yeah.
And that's something that they've seen in scouting, and it was tremendous. Now, again, I think KC's O-line failed them specifically late, but I think some of the play calling, and obviously we can talk about Mahomes. It is who he is, but this season, we talked about 2 weeks ago, is his season was exactly what that game was.
Yeah.
And so you can't be surprised and be like, oh, he just played a bad game. No, that was Mahomes.
He had
this
those
season.
moments. There's a lot of throwing the game theories out there.
There is.
from Kansas City
From
fans.
Kansas City, yeah, right?
My response to that is that so the Bills had to throw the game to you guys the week before. And
Right.
I get a lot of silence after that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
hey. But, yeah, if Kansas City scores at the end of the half, whether it be touchdown or field goal, that's a different game. There was a big pop of the balloon when you get 0 points from the 1 yard line.
And a huge momentum swing.
I mean, just when you're dominating a game.
Yep.
I feel like if you score there, Cincinnati continues to feel like, oh, man, we can't stop them.
Right.
And they finally got to stop, albeit on the half-yard line because the
I would
clock
take a stop
expired.
there.
You take any stop you can get, and that's the
Absolutely.
momentum they took in the second half, and they literally gave up 3 points.
Yep.
The rest of the game. And the Chiefs, again, decided not to run the ball, which, again, they ran into issues with that. I mean, they were dropping 8 into coverage, rushing 3 for 70% of that second half. Just not running the ball. And, you ran the ball successfully is the thing. It's not like they were shutting down the run. Right. They averaged 6 or 7 yards a carry in that game. And limited carries. I'm not sure if they met
the minimum to give you the actual
carries,
average. I agree. It's just,
I don't know.
I mean, it was both games were accumulation of the entire season that we've been talking about the entire season from coaching and players of not making sense from a football perspective.
Right.
You run the ball in those situations that we just spoke about. You're dominating in a run game, but yet you decide to throw the entire second half. Mm-hmm. When you have a big lead, which means you need to actually waste clock. It's just the decision making.
You were throwing,
weird.
but not only were you throwing unsuccessfully.
Yeah, wildly unsuccessful.
So it just. Say it was kind of a microcosm of what we saw from the Chiefs, but also a microcosm of what we saw throughout the NFL this year of how many times do we say it doesn't make any damn sense?
Did not.
When you're watching games, you're just the refs don't make any sense. The defense doesn't make any sense. Some weeks the offense didn't make any sense. The special teams didn't make it. It's these are professional football players getting paid millions of dollars, and they make these mistakes. It's and there's not a damn soul that should be yelling at a high school football game or a middle school football game about how the coaching's bad. It's go watch the guys that get do a living
because
miserable.
They're awful,
just as bad. So I don't. So while the games were exciting, again, I think somewhat what happens there is that it gets overshadowed by poor decisions, poor playmaking. Like, everybody wants to pile on Reed and Bieniemy, and it's like, well, Mahomes had second down, guy in the flat, touchdown, third down, guy in the seam, touchdown. Didn't throw either one of them, then tried to fumble the game away. And the kicker still saved them from 47, so they could even get into overtime. Then they got the coin flip. At that point, Josh Allen tweets out.
Right.
Pain. Yeah, right. Like, ugh.
Just,
Another stab.
Right.
And the Chiefs can't do anything with it. Another stab to Allen. Like, oh, I wish my defense could have stopped.
So I think that's a tale of this game. And when I was looking at just stuff and research before about the Super Bowl, the Bengals in the 3 games that they've played in the second half and overtime have given up 19 total points.
Right.
Which is that's incredible. They're doing something.
That adjustment, whatever they're doing in an adjustment, and like we said, could it be coaching decisions on the other team and maybe not making the right coaching decisions? Maybe, but they're clearly making some adjustments to stop teams.
They're doing something that people are getting confused on, whether it's a pre-snap look, and so you can probably speak more to that. But like, to me, I don't know, from a quarterback perspective, it wasn't that difficult to see what they were trying to do. I mean, they started the game in too high. Chiefs figured out how to beat that. So they just dropped another guy. As soon as they dropped another guy and played just basically like a drop zone, as long as the Chiefs weren't dedicated to running the ball more than one time in a row, which they weren't.
They never took him out of it. That was the problem.
That was like, Mahomes gets a little skittish. The longer he has to stand in the pocket, protected or unprotected, like, he's actually better if he's unprotected, because then he has to go make a play. Right. Whereas if he's protected, he's like unsure of himself, and then the ghosts start popping in, and you start seeing the plays at the end of the game where like he was like there wasn't pass
play
rush.
Was there, the read was there.
He lost like 20 yards backwards on a play where there was no pass rush.
But we saw a ton of that in the beginning of the year.
Absolutely. But you thought
we saw a ton of it from the last Super Bowl,
right?
And then and everyone's like, "Oh, he's over it." And then in the season, the
right.
And the thing is, he was getting better protection this year, which was the astonishing thing.
Absolutely,
it's the ghosts, and that's usually what breaks quarterbacks.
They did a great job in their offseason to bring in line to protect him, and they did the right things. And for the majority of the year, it worked. And then all of a sudden, like you said, he started to see the ghosts, and it was just a different player.
At the halfway point, there were teams. I mean, pretty good minds counting them out of the playoffs, let alone
they were out of the playoffs.
But then 4 weeks later, they were back to being the Super Bowl contender or whatever. But I mean,
it's
I argue the Bills are still a better team than Kansas City. I argue the Bills are still a better team than Cincinnati, and I think the Bills are a better team than the Rams.
Right?
Guess where the Bills are?
At home.
Right.
At home.
On a podcast somewhere.
Hey,
so we're talking about this, and we're talking about playmaking decisions and different stuff. And we talked a little bit about Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. He's a former running backs coach too. Mm-hmm. Like, so too, and how much he has influence on play calling, we're not 100% sure. But at the same time, you're a running backs coach. In that situation, you think run. If I'm getting chunks and chunks and chunks and chunks of yards, why not?
Yeah, but he's been in Andy Reid's in his head.
Yeah,
I mean, literally. Like, he's telling him what to call. I'm sure they're talking about it.
I'm sure they're talking about it. I'm sure, but also Mahomes checking out too. Like, at the end of the day, they give Mahomes a lot of ability to do things, and that's the piece that I believe quarterbacks, some take more advantage than others, and I really wish the others would take more advantage of it sometimes. Right. Of being able to, you have a run call. There is a run call you can check to in almost every play, except for empty, unless you're going quarterback sneak. Like, there is always going to be able to, if you see there's 3 down linemen, and you're like, run a damn dive. Right. Just try it a couple times, because you need to get them out of that 3. Do you know they're dropping 9 or 8
Mahomes, I mean, being with Reid, like, he's got to be a guy that is pretty cerebral overall. But do you think it is more of a passing game? Like, do you think that he is seeing
Where did he go to college?
Texas Tech.
Yeah. What did they do?
Well, I get it. I'm just saying from a standpoint of, like, you talk about a Tom Brady and a Peyton Manning, the ultimate game managers, absolutely. Nothing that you would rather do other than just have a camera on them while they're making an audible. Those guys and it's easy to say because you're sitting here, but like those guys would have got into run plays, and they were never afraid to go to the run play
multiple times in a row.
Like, I don't know, and I don't watch close enough to know, but it doesn't ever seem like the Chiefs are audibling to a run play.
Correct.
Like Mahomes has never checked out of a run or a pass play to a run play.
It's the other way. It looks like.
And I mean, maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's unfair to Mahomes. But there's a lot of situations, and I watch a decent amount of Chiefs football with the amount of Chiefs fans in my life. I mean, it's still better, as they say, better than being a Cowboys fan. So, hey, I can't argue that.
No, you can't. No,
but like that's where it feels like that's the piece that he can gap. And still early in his career, I mean, 4 AFC championship games in 4 years. Like, poo-poo on the guy all you want. Like, we're not getting rid of him. We're not getting rid of Andy Reid. You're not getting – I mean, you don't have to get rid of Eric Bieniemy because he's coming back now. Like, great core. Keep as many of those dudes together and make it a run again next year. Go for it, and you're in a great position. But, like, that's the next step. The first step was the whole cover 2 thing. Make sure you check it down when you need to. Now we need to move from, okay, if they're going to kind of force the check down but then also make the tackle, now we need to do the next thing, which is let's run the damn ball.
Right.
Like, and that's got to come from Reed, but that's also, like, I mean, when you're Mahomes, like, that's something we learn at the late high school, early college level. Like, you see what you see and you make the audible.
Right.
And that's not happening right now.
I mean,
or you can just be Josh Allen and just run it yourself.
Just run it yourself. He could just run it himself.
So
I think one of my favorite videos that's out there is, and definitely not as talented of a quarterback as what Patrick Mahomes is, but that Cam Newton video where I think it's either Clay Matthews or AJ Hawk or somebody calls their play. He's like, oh, they're going to run the wheel route. And he's like, oh, you've been watching film. That's cute. Watch this. And he checks out of it,
right,
and they score a touchdown on that play.
Either they checked out of it or they had a play set of which
it was a play off of it.
Coordinator said, hey, they're going to see this on film. We're going to...
That's exactly
right.
What it was. And it was a tweak.
Which is... Right. Like, I mean, but that's what these guys do. Again, we go back to the professional thing. Is like literally every week these guys spend hours. The hours that we spend at work, they spend watching film and putting it into their skill set and molding their guys and whatever their best attributes are. That's the one thing in Mahomes that I haven't seen is the ability to, hey, when do we need to run the ball and when do I just need to tell my guys, hey, we're going to go hit them in the mouth because there's only 3 of them there.
Right.
Like there's 5 of us, there's 3 of them,
numbers.
and we got a pretty good back here. So, like, let's just hand him the ball. And that's whoever it is. Like, the Chiefs have had no great backs, but they always have solid backs.
They're solid enough to damn run the ball.
So,
but that
was kind of the story of that game, in my opinion.
For sure. So, with our Super Bowl picks, I think Ryan and I are the only ones that are left, baby.
I mean, we were all on the Chiefs and Rams in the Super Bowl. Obviously, we all missed that Chiefs one.
The Chiefs missed that one.
But Stoy and I had the Rams as our Super Bowl pick out of those last 4 teams.
Absolutely.
So that week, pretty much 50-50 across the board. The only thing that we had a snafu on was the over-under, the total. Cole went over, and it would have been 3-3.
Way to go, Cole.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just under 50% overall on that week.
You know what my motto is? You win some, you lose most.
Oh, man. That was all right. That was good.
That's going to be a clip on solid. TikTok, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that was really good. So next up, are we going to jump into the Super Bowl right away, or do we want to talk about some?
Is there anything you guys wanted to bring up in between? Obviously, we're talking about football, and it's going to be obviously football this week. Hey, but golf's coming. I mean, we're betting on golf now.
There's one thing that I want to mention. I mean, we talked about it back and forth multiple times. The Spieth shot over the cliff at Pebble Beach.
So I was actually listening to something earlier, and I listened to a couple golf podcasts just because I love this time of year.
Well,
I love golf.
You are Jordan Spieth's doppelganger. So.
But in
everything besides the swing, we're good.
Yeah, pretty much.
All the way up to the tee, and then it's.
So the only thing that like this person was talking about worrisome, he's like, they almost need to put a fence up there in non-professional events now because they're going to have people that might get into that same situation and try and be a hero.
Try the shot.
Or, hey, I don't know, make the rule that if they get that close, they can back up 5 feet.
Well, that's also what these. That's also
in
what
the hazard. The hazard line was painted.
So they need to paint the hazard line a little. Like they need to do something.
No, did you hear? I mean,
I didn't hear. No.
Spieth's post-round press conference, multiple things, but
say that again.
His post-round press conference. Say that 5 times fast. Jeez.
Nope, I won't.
I didn't do my ow now brown cow beforehand. He said he would not let his caddy go up to the ball because if he did, he would have taken the ball and thrown it in the ocean, meaning he wasn't going to let him hit the shot because he's 3 feet inside, 4 feet inside the hazard line that is clearly marked there. Spieth walks up, says, all right, takes one more club, ends up being long on the shot, but like he's on flat, but then we see the side angle that is literally the start of, and his ball, I mean, his ball was a half of roll, maybe a full roll from being not in play anyway. And you don't realize that until you're right there. And then we get the overhead shot of him hitting over just this chasm, onto, and great shot. But as he's swinging, he's one leaning backwards. For those non-golfers, you don't usually lean backwards on your golf shot. And two, literally as he's following through, he is running back towards his caddy. Also not suggested in the golf swing.
There's not a lot of fadeaway shots.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I think he has like a 3-month-old kid at home, and he says something along the lines, or he's asked about, what conversation with the wife or something. He's like, I'm not really sure what I'm going to tell her when she brings up, why you chose that shot over your family, basically.
Right.
Because if you fall, you're probably not coming home.
Oh, no.
Well, everybody was
everybody
was
talking. He wouldn't hit the shot again, basically, if he had.
Right, but he was in the moment,
like what I vigor,
and I hadn't seen the side, but when it's overview, you're like, oh, if you're there, it probably looks bad, but he's probably a ways away. And then you sent the side, and I was like, okay, not only is he only like a foot away, it is down slope. Like there is no possible
and then
way.
CBS tweets out, like, everybody's like, oh, we want more stats, we want more like analytics on there. So they tweeted out the analytics that it was like a 68-foot drop.
Mm-hmm.
Dope.
It's just like,
with nothing, like there wasn't a lead.
No, it was
straight
up.
Rocks.
That he said.
Jagged.
He said.
Rocks.
He said so
water
many.
Eventually,
he said a few of those like, do you hit the shot? Like where were we play? Ryder Cup.
Yeah, Whistling
Straits.
He's on the side of the hill. Ends up
one of the
down
coolest shots I've ever seen in my life.
That's a top 10 shot in life.
And he's sprinting down.
Right.
Like
he's
at
an
least
athlete.
at that point, he's.
Death is not on his radar.
Right.
There.
I mean, we're talking maybe rolled ankle, maybe broken ankle at worst.
Oh, yeah.
There type of thing.
ACL or something.
Yeah.
Trips.
This one was death.
This is like if you go, and like I mean, these guys are superior athletes, great core, great balance. Like, so for them, yes, but in the one-off chance that you're gonna just watch a live death,
right,
on NBC, like. No. I mean, the camera's not going to pan away fast enough. I'm sorry. You're watching the swing because it's going to happen on the swing.
Yeah.
So that was
Lord.
crazy. One of the craziest golf moments I've seen from just a peer. Like, did the shot really matter? Right. No, it's third round, whatever. But, like, impactful and more so is when the tourist goes to play the golf course now. Hey, where's the speed?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
They're clearly not going to put a plaque on that one.
But that
usually, great shots.
But people are going to try.
I really hope not.
Right, and that's why this guy was mentioning, like they almost need to put a fence or something.
It doesn't
up
matter.
there.
Right.
And does it take that takes a little bit away from the Pebble Beach-esque maybe because they put that fence up and take it down for the pros, but it's just.
I mean, what if you don't?
The average
pros, it's just don't
right,
hit it there.
Right, but just like the average.
A lot.
I mean, we played indoors and
right.
It's tough.
Pretty tight.
It's a small place to get that ball to even get there, and if it is, how it just stops.
Right.
Like it's not designed that way. However, if you do get it to the edge, though, it really shortens the course.
Exactly.
Everybody, if you go to Pebble, please don't do that shot. We don't want you to die.
Cut in the corner.
Exactly. But yeah, that was a crazy moment to say the least.
Oh, absolutely,
no doubt.
Absolutely. Any other news that you guys want to talk about. There's some off-season stuff, obviously, we'll get to. All the coaching spots got filled. Obviously, Flores, we'll dive into that. I don't want to dive too much into it now, because of time, and it's a Super Bowl week.
No, yeah.
But also, there's going to be more development, and I think in the offseason that's going to be a really big deal as we get going with it. What do you guys feel? We'll go to the coaching stuff just for this. Do you love them all? Is there a couple of where the coaches landed that you're just like, why? Or is it just kind of an average, like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's where we're at.
I'd say, I mean, there were not, I think at one point there were 9 availabilities. I'm not saying that all of them were actually open, but of the 9, I think they probably got 6 were what I would consider solid hires, or that you can make a solid case of this guy got hired because this, and I'll dive into it a little bit more, but a lot of times that's because of the quarterback.
Right.
Because in the NFL right now, that's everybody's focal point.
Absolutely.
You got to have.
What about you? Because your coaching spot got filled.
Yeah, and I'll hit on it a little bit later on, but I think part of my favorite thing was seeing still some confidence in older coaches that had success in the past that maybe haven't coached in a little bit. Like, these guys are still getting interviews. Like, they can still coach. Now, did some of them get those jobs? No. But I think it's still fun to know that, hey, we're still going to see if this methodology fits our organization and fits, kind of the mindset that we want to have. So
it's not to say they haven't changed either.
Right.
I mean, you go through these 9-hour interviews.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
If you go through a 9-hour interview and don't get the job, wow.
It seems to be like that was a thing. Like,
that's
on
average.
More than one occasion, like that was mentioned as just like that is what it is. Like, if
now I wonder, like,
you're there from 7 to 9 hours. Now,
are
lunch
you going on a
2
tour?
hours?
Yeah, it's lunch.
Like,
do we have drinks?
I'm sure.
Are we watching film? Like, I mean, there's some things in there, of course, but
still, like,
my favorite thing so far in the coaching thing was a non-coach or non-hire. And that was Leftwich. Leftwich going to the Jags and going, my GM, or I'm not accepting,
right,
and just pieces out.
See,
that was amazing.
I jump on that same thing, and I think I kind of love the Jaguars hire. I like Doug Peterson a lot.
I'm fine with it.
I like him a lot, and I honestly, when he was like his name was getting rumored into the Vikings and everything like that, I'm like, this is a guy who's had success. He's been to Super Bowls. He's been to the the highest peak. He's proven he can get there.
Right.
And now Jaguars probably don't have the talent that
he's
did.
not
But
gonna
like
be around
when they were talking, when they were talking like him and the Vikings, they have a ton of talent.
I'm just saying.
But
I'll say it.
But so
they're not.
Lawrence
the
was higher rated than Burrow.
The Bengals defense has always been solid enough.
Yeah.
Jaguars.
They've been better on defense than they have in offense.
Better
recently.
Yeah, but better. Like that.
Just saying.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think I liked what Leftwich did. I loved everything about that. I wanted him to go there because of like the storyline behind it.
I loved it.
But I like Doug Peterson. I think him getting hired was a good thing.
To me, the Texans, the Jags, and the Saints are 3 to 5 year builds now with their setups. Maybe not the Jags because they have actually more pieces that are younger than the other two. And I'm just going to wipe out the Watson situation because we just don't know yet.
Right.
To me, those are 3 to 5 year builds. And the reason the Saints went in-house is because they can keep everyone together. They can keep the locker room together to help to build something. Same thing for the Texans. It made sense. So those hires to me made sense.
Yeah, but if Jameis Winston stays healthy this year, the Saints are at worst 10-7, probably 11-6 ball club.
I agree.
And so if he comes back,
but I'm not talking about like. Do you know their cap situation?
Well, it's terrible. And like, what are you going to do with Mike? What are you going to do with Mike Thomas? Well, you just got to drop You got to drop one guy that kind of plays quarterback, and you're fine.
True, but we don't know the guarantee. I don't know enough about their contracts, but
right.
he's inheriting a bit. It's a hole. Like they're usually. I mean, you could do a lot of cool things, but that's a big hole.
I'm a Cowboys fan, so there's been a lot of dumb signings. I mean, we still got Zeke Elliott for how many more years? But
12.
Taysom Hill signing in New Orleans could be an all-time worst contract signing.
Yeah, because it's like a two position contract.
It's weird.
And he's just not a value. Like, he's not enough. Like, he's not even as valuable as, like, a Debo or anybody like that. Because, like, he's just not. And because he's not good at quarterback. Like, you got to be good at a position in order to play multiple positions. Patterson, same way. It's like, he's good at both the positions. If you're only good at one of the positions you play, like you're just a fullback or a halfback. Yeah,
you're just the H-back. That's who you are.
Now you're getting paid for both of them. That just is baffling.
There's another interesting one I think out there with Hackett going to Denver and with Rodgers and Rodgers being rumored almost to Denver last year, and now I think those rumors hype up even more.
Oh, right, but that's only a good hire if Rodgers goes there.
Right. So there's a tweet. So.
And they're losing their running backs coach potentially too.
Benkert used to be a backup for the Falcons, and then
Kurt Benkert, he's hilarious,
and I love him on Twitter. He posted today that I can finally use my gift from Aaron Rodgers. It was like a Gucci travel bag. The comments below were like, "Oh, Rodgers got a gift for all his quarterbacks to leave the Packers," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Yes.
Obviously, I don't think he did it that way. But if he did,
that's fantastic.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like it. I mean, if I was a fan of the Packers, I'd be really pissed off. But it's really fun from a story perspective.
Before we dive 100% into the Super Bowl, what are your guys' thoughts about the Kyler Murray situation?
Social media is dumb.
I mean, I agree.
It's a part of our life.
Do you think it's another everybody's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is gone. There's no way he's coming back. There's no way he's coming back. In this situation, he unfollows the Cardinals. He takes all the pictures of him in the Cardinals' office, social media. He does this. He does this. I will just say this what's the disconnect?
About this situation. Julio did the same thing. Julio left.
Right.
The most recent one to do it.
But you have to be able to leave.
He's able to leave.
He's still got a year left on his contract.
He might have a clause in there for a forced trade. We don't know. Right,
but he's going to the Texans.
Can you reach the bumbu?
The Texans and Cardinals have made dumber trades
can you bring
before.
With the bumbu, can you bring the bumbu?
Can you reach the bumbu?
Can you bring the bumbu?
Also,
sponsor.
If he doesn't get a play with Hopkins, then you need
to bring the two bumbu.
I would want to leave too. That's when they got crappy. Is when Hopkins went out. I mean, you can call it a lot of different things, but Hopkins didn't play. The Cardinals were crap.
Yeah, but where does he fit?
Does he? And this is.
I mean, it all depends on where the other pieces fall for
everyone else.
Cardinals aren't a bad fit, but they've got.
You couldn't get to the top of the letters.
Well, I was trying to say something for you.
There's a whole bottle over there.
Oh, well, I'll act like I'm practicing some restraint.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. This is an interesting one that I'm just going to pull up here because I want to see what. I just don't
is. There's too many as far as
sponsor
Russ Wilson, Rodgers, you have to know where all of those Murray would only be moved if those two guys aren't going to Arizona. So the whole trade option with that would be.
Do you think
they're just not going to
a Murray Rodgers trade? Someone threw that out. A Packers fan threw that out there.
Right, but Rodgers isn't going to agree to go to Arizona and not win.
Well, why wouldn't he be able to?
He doesn't have, you'd have to be able, and I have no idea what their cap situation is, but he's got to be able to take Adams.
Yeah.
That's why Denver makes the most sense is because he can.
He's bringing Adams.
They've got enough. And they have, Denver has actually some good young receivers, so they can get back in picks and in talent.
I know we're all saying that Adams and Rodgers, and I don't remember what their cap hit's going to be to the new team. Do you believe that their relationship's so good that they'll both shave that off to make it work? Yeah. I do.
Yes. I think so.
I believe so. And that's why I think that opens up a couple, 3 more teams.
Right.
But everyone's not talking about that. They will take a pay cut to play with each other at this point, I believe.
I think in a spot of which they're guy that they wanted to go somewhere went. Like, I think there's significance to that. I've got to believe that, or there's no reason that Denver hires Hackett.
Why would what would be the why? I don't think he's even proven enough to be a head coach at this point.
The Packers
at all.
That's why when you ask that question of I only like.
Do you think
the Hackett hire?
So remember when Rodgers
goes there?
Rodgers in LA went and played golf or whatever, right? Remember that whole blow up thing? Do you think that part of that conversation the whole time has been Rodgers? What would it take?
Right.
And he would say, my coach and my receiver that he picks.
Sure
Does it make sense?
Like,
is this probable
for a guy with his leverage and the leverage that he's commanded in Green Bay and they've given? Like, yeah.
But
absolutely.
Why Denver for Rodgers?
Because they have the cap space. Like, that's the thing in the NFL. You can't just say, I want to go play in. Like, exactly. Tom Brady was able to go to Tampa for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of 3 places. So it's a business.
Yeah.
And it's still a business to them. So they've got to figure out, where can.
And there's pieces to Denver's offense that he can step into, and they're already, they have a really good running game already established.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
they're just the receiving core. I mean, with Adams isn't. But he's never really had.
And ultimately,
Sutton's a good receiver, and he'll be a good.
Judy's there, so maybe it's just because of him.
What do they have to get rid of it in Green Bay for them to stay?
I don't think I don't think that's it. I think it's more if he doesn't with the ownership and there's just so much distaste.
I don't know.
In my opinion,
no. I just don't know what's behind the scenes.
Now even more because that was essentially his guy,
right?
And you already know him and the head coach don't see eye to eye. So,
and I think honestly, I think a lot of that's been repaired.
I'm sure
Rodgers
played well.
Would have said if it hadn't because he was very, very straightforward in all of his interviews.
But if he got to decide where he ties his horse tooth the rest of his career, that's what he's deciding between now.
But he's a guy that's going to go out with years left in him.
Yeah, he's going to make his own choice. Of course, that's who he is.
I mean. So if it's not Denver, and
it's got to be Pack,
we're just gonna hang it up.
No, I don't.
We'll get into that more.
Point. Yeah, we'll get into the offseason for sure.
Kind of diving down a wormhole here.
Any other breaking news besides Kamara getting arrested in Las Vegas because of the Pro Bowls in Vegas and the Pro Bowl sucks?
Just
breaking news.
That was awful.
The Pro Bowl has been canceled. Moving forward, lowest rating since 2006.
Well, because would you turn it off? They play 2 untouched football. That's terrible.
We were right, but people just didn't even tune in, which good for them. And I feel bad. And I only watched highlights, but I feel the worst for the people that paid money to get tickets for that game.
So it was my birthday, and should have been the Super Bowl, but they decided to go Week 18 this year. I'm not bitter, NFL.
Lies.
I don't like Goodell. That being said, we were at Urban Air. And the kids were jumping around doing all that crazy stuff, whatever. It's on. So what else am I going to do?
Wait, it was your birthday.
It was my birthday. Yeah. Did you got onto that? Yeah, it's my birthday at Urban Air.
What should we do for you?
But so I'm watching this thing, and that's when I was, slacking you guys, is this was brutal. Cousins' pick, he literally just threw it to the defender.
Murray did the same thing too.
He just defended him right away.
I had to.
Good Lord.
I have to.
So did the other 4 quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
They were just throwing the ball randomly. The routes,
rushing the passer.
The routes, well, they did a couple times because it got fumbles.
Mahomes got sacked. He was just
yeah, there were sacks and fumbles.
So then they told him to stop. I watched a couple of highlights and it looked like
they told him to stop.
I could have rushed the edge.
You guys,
harder than those guys.
The routes and the explosion off the ball. Mm-hmm. Oh my! It was just it was walkthroughs. It was Friday walkthroughs for us before games. That is exact speed that it was. And it was embarrassing to the game, the fans.
But they allowed money to be put on that too.
I know.
There were bets on that game.
I know.
They got paid out.
Because you can bet on anything when it's sports.
Right, but that's not real. That's not. How do you determine when someone is tackled by touching them? And then you're determining my money.
All-star games and Pro Bowls and those kind of things. they've lost all value. Like
Not the MLB, I would say.
No, I agree with that. But like,
really the only one I know of.
But they've lost all value now. Like,
right, but
to be named,
right. And stuff
but to
MLB,
be named,
like it makes sense for the playoffs.
right.
To be named an All-Star or to be named to the Pro Bowl, like those things now, like
Except for their contract.
before people,
But now it's all pros.
but before people loved playing in that game because they're like, oh, I get to play the best of the best against everybody in the league. Like you see the Sean Taylors like laying people out. That hit coming and resurfacing all the time pumps me up.
I mean, it was a punter.
RIP.
Why?
It doesn't matter.
They ran a fake punt in the Pro Bowl, and the punter got blown up. Like that guy regrets life after that.
But he got up and just
He
walked
did.
it
He
off
shook
that.
it off.
Like,
What else are you going to do?
Proud
You going to
he's
fight Sean Taylor?
It's because he's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah. He's a
Yeah.
Pro Bowler.
But again, it's just I think doing stuff like that where it's two-hand touch and not even actually playing like that, it takes away from what that actual weekend means. And
You know what I think they should do instead is now they should make it flag football, and it should be alumni flag football.
speaking of flag football,
So like you see the Favre commercials with it,
and then
like,
bring them
So
out.
get like give me Favre, give me Jerry Rice,
So, like,
give me
whatever
Ocho
position the
Cinco
Pro
and Terrell
Bowl-
Owens that still
Yeah.
say they can ball. Give me Michael
give me
Irvin out
them.
there. Give
Let's
me a
go.
first that like
Little Dion lockdown, baby.
and
prime
like
time.
just 7-on-7
Yeah.
flag football with,
I think
with the old dudes.
So that's yours. Mine would be do your skill contest like you would.
Yep.
Normal Pro Bowl people, Thursday to Saturday. The game, just put the two worst teams to go for the number one pick.
Ooh, I did see that song. I like that.
I saw that and I was
Yep.
like,
No,
I
that's
want the skills contest because we all love that.
Yep.
And then the two worst teams playing for the number one
The
pick.
dodgeball's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy watching
But
that.
like
It
if
has
you did
nothing
it
to do
over,
with
if you
football.
could do it over 3 days, now you could have a lot more
Right,
different
right,
things
right.
and fun. And then you have the two worst teams playing each other for the number one pick. Like that's exciting to me.
so your flag football talk. Did you guys hear? And I think I can't remember when it was being brought up. The newest sport that's being talked about being brought into the 2028 Olympics, flag football.
Oh, not ultimate frisbee.
Flag football is exclusive Olympics. So NFL is
Ultimate
backing
Frisbee
it,
should be
supporting it,
first.
everything.
You guys, if United States doesn't win the first like 7,
That's why it should be ultimate frisbee. Ultimate frisbee is
worldwide.
amazing. It's amazing to watch. I don't even know if it's worldwide. It's just
I have
love
no idea. I
watching.
made that up too, but I feel like that's more better than it's going to be former pro
It's more better
in college, and that's just in the United States one that's we're going to dominate again. Right, this is what it is.
But I think now
love
that you mentioned flag football, I just had to bring that up. That
we can't be pro like only. I mean, like from an Olympic perspective, like that's such an American thing.
Flag football,
has
to be.
I just can't. So like that's where I can't get completely on board because like.
No, it's
Yeah,
just
I'm
our
rooting
sport.
for America in the Olympics.
Stacking the deck
but-
in our favor.
Right, but like, yeah, I don't need.
But do they keep it? And I think this still favors America regardless. But do they keep this exclusively amateur? How some of these other sports are reverting to. So now pro players can't play in it. How we
doesn't
talked
matter.
about how
fine, they don't play
It doesn't
anywhere else.
matter.
I know. I'm just well.
I mean,
Like, we
Mexico,
still play
Europe.
rugby here and like different sports
Right.
like that. Like we have enough athletes that we can make competitive teams and
that
then we're
don't
not
play
going-
our professional sport.
Right.
Whereas like
That one,
I just
not unless a lot of people are going to just are dual citizenship and they're going to go to the other country.
Right.
That's the only way. Otherwise, it will be a non-contest.
Yeah.
No contest. 0.
Yeah. I mean I think that they're
Go USA.
America's doing
is wiffle ball next or what?
That'd be dope. That'd be pretty dope.
I love watching the wiffle ball league.
it's insane.
YouTube.
Hurts my shoulder, my elbow right
They like
here.
It's so awesome.
scuff the ball, everything like that, so it
Tape-
curves
tape-
more.
Tape up the bats.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Playing the replica Fenway.
Okay, this is a wormhole now.
Wait, there's a Super Bowl this weekend?
Yeah, there is a Super Bowl. All right, so
Everyone's gonna be like,
I'm
I'm
gonna
so bored. Just get to the Super Bowl.
so I'm gonna pull it up here.
Also,
when
we do prop bets, did we decide which prop bet? Like,
I
which
think we should just throw them around.
yeah,
Then,
just didn't matter where they came from.
Well, and then we can find like we can go up. We can do a big one plus 5,000 plus 2,000. Whatever, and then do.
Well, I just
something
meant like,
more.
are we sticking to our FanDuel? Or are we like?
I
mixing
went.
and
Mine are
choosing?
from FanDuel.
Yeah, let's
I think.
stick to FanDuel.
Yeah. Okay.
So this weekend, 4 seed Los Angeles Rams from the NFC, 4 seed Cincinnati Bengals.
Good year to be a 4 seed.
From the AFC, the Los Angeles Rams are minus 4-point favorites.
Dallas, I say that because Dallas should have been. I thought they were going to be the 4 seed.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they would have been the 4 seed.
Yeah, no kidding.
They'd be there, right?
Rams minus 4-point favorites. Totals at 48.5. When I first typed it, it was at 49.5. So it's gone down gone down a point, but there's no money really leaning anywhere.
Yep.
On that.
Not yet.
Good line. It's got me stumped.
Home game for the
I
Rams.
say it's a good line. Because
Home game for the Rams.
I'm gonna let you guys go first on this. I can argue with myself, but I cannot get a feel for this game. So let me hear it. Convince me one way or the other, fellas.
In theory, the Rams should be able to handle this relatively well. And the sole reason for that is that D-line. However, because of the Niners and what they did and really shut down that defense of a line, then that's where that's the game to me. That is the sole game right there. They're both going to score points, or unless the Rams D-line actually, steps up to what they're paid for, like $1 billion or whatever it is. My opinion will be that they're going to come out and make sure they don't get beat deep early on, and can their front four dominate that 5? That's what they're going to come out first. If they don't, then they're going to do the normal man. Jalen Ramsey's going to get on Chase, and they're going to do essentially what they did against Tampa and even last week a little bit. So I think they're going to come out relatively soft in coverage, if you will, and make them beat them on the ground and see if their front four can dominate the front 5. If they can dominate them on the front side, it's going to be a long day for Burrow. And it's going to be against zones and all. It essentially opens the entire playbook defensively if their front four gets home with relative ease repeatedly. That being said, the Bengals, obviously, they're gritty. They're going to be grinding this thing out. However, they have not seen this front four. I'm trying to think of the closest front four they've seen of this recently.
I mean, they got sacked 9 times against the Titans.
I know. And the Titans D-line, I would say the Rams D-line's better.
Oh, just like the Rams aren't going to have more than 9 sacks.
No. 9 sacks in the Super Bowl
that's my point, is that
correct.
Whether they haven't necessarily seen a defensive line, but they've seen the scenario that can happen when you get dominated by a defensive line. So therefore, the Rams coming out soft, to me, if you allow Burrow easy throws, he'll throw 5-yard hitches to Chase, who has proved that he can go 70 yards untouched off of a 5-yard hitch handful of times this year already. And so you better be ready to tackle.
Absolutely.
On the back end, which is
not a strong suit.
Well, not only that, but that's going away from the strength of the Rams by playing zone behind your biggest strength.
Right.
And that's what I've seen the Rams do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen Jalen Ramsey look
uber
average pedestrian.
Right.
And we texted about it during games. He looks like another cornerback. He has not looked dominant unless the defensive line has gotten home. And then he dropped what could have been the game-ending pick 6 against the 49ers.
Right.
And so, he hasn't made any plays. So, he's due to make some plays or he's not.
Right.
And the safeties for the Rams are, they brought in a guy that was retired for 2 years. You say what you want. That guy may be good in the run game, but if they can get enough protection, they're going up top.
Absolutely.
And they got 3 dudes that can go up top.
But why wouldn't you? In Super Bowl in itself is a chess match.
Right.
Every game is. But specifically, why wouldn't you start that way?
Oh,
right?
I'm not saying you should.
Make them do the hitches.
Right,
then you can start to mold and do what you want to do. The front four has to get home, in my opinion, for the Rams to really do something.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Rams' offense is better than Titans, right? Yes, 9 sacks, but they were still in the game regardless because the Titans weren't scoring.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams will score on the Bengals. They will score. I don't know amount yet.
If the Rams play like they did last week, they will lose this game.
Mahomes was going to get 42 against the Bengals, and then he didn't. I mean, that's my
Right.
like that's where
Right.
that's why I'm at where I'm at, is because like I keep going back to literally all the check marks say Rams, offense, defense, maybe not special teams from a kicker standpoint, but punter standpoint is actually a little leaning towards the Rams. But it's Burrow, Joe Cool, whatever 97 different nicknames that
Joe
guy
Burr.
got, Joe Burr, right? Like, and it's the Bengals defense ability to make halftime adjustments. And so those two things versus a plethora of items over here, the Rams haven't exactly been closers.
I wouldn't put that in the category of their skill set.
So, like, why should I feel good about the Rams 4 when every game in the playoffs has been a field goal or overtime?
You're not wrong.
So, like, that's where I go back to Cincinnati, and I feel no confidence in it. Like, I've felt no
For the
confidence.
Rams?
Well, no.
No, in gen-
Well,
Oh.
in either
Oh.
side, because I feel no confidence in Cincinnati, which I've felt the whole playoffs for obvious
But
reasons.
they're winning.
Because they have obvious flaws,
Right.
of which for half of games has been exposed, but for the other half hasn't. And then Burrow has done his thing when he's needed to.
Yeah.
Very Brady-esque, and he's getting a lot of Tom Brady comparisons with
Please
man in
don't.
the arena.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for fair reasons. Like,
Right.
he's won games that you would never anticipate and that people are going to call lucky. And, like, that's Brady's whole career. Is just like, oh, you got lucky here and you got this. And it's like, at the end of the day,
He was there.
He's winning.
dude won.
Yeah.
And, like, so whatever.
Yeah.
Flip your hat to him, and you still hate him if you want, but it is what it is. So, like, that's where I'm just super uncomfortable, is the fact that, like, the Rams have proven nothing to me that they can close a game, and the Bengals have done nothing but close games.
Do you think it's on the coaches?
And so if it's on the coaches,
Who's a better coach with 2 weeks
I mean,
to prepare?
like, does it matter though? Like, the 2 weeks is too much. One of those weeks is wasted between travel arrangements and everything like that.
Well, the Super Bowl
Ultimately,
week is not practice.
it comes down to halftime adjustments and who's made the best ones.
I think it comes down to that, and it comes down to the Rams' ability to score in the first half. When
Can
they won,
put it away.
yeah. Well, it's more of when they throttled the Cardinals first round, they scored a lot in the first half. When they,
Throttled.
looked like throttled the
Tampa Bay,
Buccaneers,
but then did.
yeah,
Right.
they scored a lot in the first half.
Right.
When they were losing this game against the Niners, their first half was abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
So in this, if they don't have a good first half, just based off of the stats that the Bengals are showing us, they're going to make those adjustments, and
Yeah, but
you're going to have to score first half big time.
even if they do, like like that's my thing with the Bengals, is just like, oh, we've made first half adjustments, we've survived 9 sacks. Like, I feel kind of like a cat with 9 lives to me. It was like, well, we're not out of lives yet.
Right.
We got Joe Burrow on our side, and we got 3 dudes that can
Right.
make plays, and not to mention, we got Mixon.
If Mixon can get going,
Like, and he hasn't.
That's-
He's played fine, but
one of my
like,
they
props.
haven't been able to run.
like P. Ryan had the touchdown.
I have a prop in there about old Joe
Little
Mixon.
Joey Joe.
But like, I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball.
I
Like, even against the front
Just the
four, like,
forward.
I think it's just going to be more so of how can we West Coast offense the Rams and be patient, and then will Stafford do something, throw a pick that he shouldn't.
absolutely.
But, I mean, the Rams have actually almost been better after Stafford throws a pick or a pick six.
Right.
Like, they win those games. But that's because he's just as likely to throw a 80-yard touchdown, whether it be to Kupp or Jefferson running down. Or
At the end of the day, like I said early on, I don't care who wins because I really think it's both
Right.
sides. It's sweet for both sides, right? Since he's never won, young quarterback, rookie receiver played together. They have championships. They've never lost. Like, there's just a really cool stories on both sides. The end of the day, defenses have to travel, and the Rams defense has to show up because they get paid the most. They are the stars. They are. And if they don't show up, then what the hell's the point? What are you?
I mean, is
Your career,
there an advantage to sleeping in your own bed?
I mean,
got to be, right?
Absolutely. But there's definitely an advantage playing in that stadium. There's not an advantage in the Super Bowl to begin with. The ticket prices typically, but like
the Ram fan is actually going to have one opportunity here where, like, just because of where they live, like in Cincinnati, the dollar is different than the dollar is in LA.
Absolutely.
And so, like, the LA Ram fan is by default going to have a better chance at this ticket.
Right.
Simply by socioeconomic.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
$5,000.
Well,
to get a damn ticket. Or $6,500 is the cheapest damn ticket.
Spend $250K on tickets for people.
Pocket change, bud.
I know, but like they're trying so hard. They need fans.
Antonio Brown buying a $2.5 million owner's suite for the Super Bowl.
Damn it, AB.
He's just lingering, man.
You think he could get signed before the game?
Maybe. Maybe that's what it was. Down payment for his own salary.
Man.
Anyways,
maybe he's part of the halftime show.
Being able to sleep at home, I think that's it could be a big thing. I don't think it matters in the Super Bowl. It's the damn Super Bowl.
I get it. I'm just asking.
I don't know.
I'm trying to to find an angle. I can argue myself in a circle here.
I can too. But my gut is going to always lean with the defense, and that D line has to step. They have no other option. D line gets neutralized, they're going to lose.
Yeah, but they're not getting neutralized. Like, I'm over that. The Rams D line will dominate.
They have to.
But will they? Will they dominate in the way that is most effective against the Bengals? And will their offense be able to put the Bengals away like the Chiefs weren't? The Chiefs could have put the Bengals away
a couple times
and didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they had them right where they wanted them, and they had a chance to put them away. You can rewatch that game a million times. There's no way the Chiefs should lose that football game.
Right.
Absolutely zero. That is an inexcusable loss by the Chiefs. Just like the week before, the Bills losing with 12 seconds left was an inexcusable loss to the Chiefs to let them move on. Like, Chiefs fans are mad because they lost to the Bengals. Now
they should never been in it.
Now they're rooting for the Rams.
Right.
Like, that's fine. But here we are, and the Rams have been the worst closer of games.
They have.
And the Bengals have been the most opportunistic team in the playoffs.
McPherson.
Like, why would they stop being the most opportunistic team in the NFL in the Super Bowl? There ain't a cooler cat out there than Joey Burrow, boys.
Except for McPherson telling them, guess we're going to the AFC title game.
The whole team, they got
we're going to the Super Bowl.
Like, they don't see themselves as underdogs.
No.
Like, if you're like, oh, yeah, like, we're going to throw the underdog story, or like,
it don't work.
You know,
it's not going to work
the
at all.
Little Giant story,
it's not gonna
the
work.
1 in 100 up the hill type of thing.
Yeah,
like, no. They're like, no,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to go in there and we're going to kick their ass. Like, and we might kick their ass by 1, but we're going to kick their ass. Like, you know, like, that's what they're doing. Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, that's just where I keep coming back to. Is just,
and it's all valid. Very valid. Like this game.
It feels Rams.
Now the halftime show, though. That's going to be great.
There's a ton of...
How long is that national anthem going to be?
I don't know.
I think it's set at
I'll take the under.
I think it's set at 135, which in the last 11 Super Bowls,
quick, though.
I think in the last 11 times, it's gone over that.
Halftime show. Is that going over or under?
Sorry, we're getting into props too
Pretty
soon.
sure that's going over.
Halftime show? Mm-hmm. The halftime show is going to be lit. I'm actually excited for the halftime show.
I'm actually, like, if you had to tell me, are you more excited for the game or halftime show? This would be the year I'm like, I could make an argument about both.
Mickey Guyton.
Who?
Mickey Guyton is singing the national anthem.
Okay.
Some more research.
But on back to the actual game itself.
I just wish they had kids sing the national anthem every time. There's nothing I love more than listening to like a group of 500 kids or 1,000 kids.
Yeah, that's cool.
Or like stadiums when they have to break in, because I wish they'd do that more. I feel like it's underrated. Nobody hates when kids sing.
No.
And the kids, like, you can't screw it up as a group, so you don't get any like mess ups in the singing.
You're not wrong.
And then like the stadium singing is just like the country coming together type of thing. Like, obviously in a time where everybody wants to disagree with somebody else on social media. It's like this would be the year that we get the kid choir out there from whether it's Boys and Girls Club or whatever it is, put them on, get the flag waving. You got 1,000 kids out there singing and military, whatever it is.
Right.
To me, this would be the year to have just a huge group of people singing it. But, everybody wants to make money and make a showcase of it. But that's just my take, is that I think every year it should be something cool like that, like a different group of people that sing it instead of one superstar person. But halftime show, I'm all for. Though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good with
that. That's hitting a lot of feels for a lot of generations.
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic.
So take me back to high school, right? And my thug country life.
So Cole, we've all brought him up, Jamar Chase, but T. Higgins can't be looked over.
No,
that dude has had some monster games in the playoffs. He's been great.
Uzama's out.
Yeah,
tight end. Yeah. So and Boyd really hasn't made any splash, and he was actually really good during the regular season. He just hasn't been used because Burrow started kind of really focusing on tight end for that first game and a half before Uzama got hurt. So Boyd's even going to be a factor. And I think that Burrow is more than willing to throw to any of those three guys. Obviously Chase is the big play guy and he's the up and comer, but absolutely those two dudes are difference makers and game breakers.
I just think with Higgins and Boyd, sometimes there's teams where you can focus on one guy and really just shadow that one guy, and it limits them a ton. Mm-hmm. Does Jamar Chase have all the playmaker ability in the world? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But will you get hurt if you focus too much on him and not on other guys? Absolutely.
And that's what I love about both of these teams. That's a perfect point, is that they both have game breakers outside of their number one game breaker. And that's why, in some ways, that's why their number one game breaker is able to be that, is because we're just going to triple team Cooper Kupp. Oh, okay.
Everybody else.
Just little Odell Beckham Jr. over here on the other side is going to tear you a new a-hole.
Higby's there. Jeez.
Right.
Van Jefferson
is the guy they send down the seam for 80-yard touchdowns. It's
for 80-yard
the Van Jefferson prop to me is one where you're well, if that dude's catching a pass, it's going for 40+, so you might as well just take the Van Jefferson over 40. It's 33.3 yards. Yeah. And it's that dude's getting one catch for 40 yards. Absolutely. Just because Kupp and Odell are there.
Yeah.
And they send him deep multiple times a game.
So that's where I think you see a ton of this, Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase and best on best type deal. I don't know how much shadowing there's really going to be, because even if you have T. Higgins on one side and you have Jamar Chase on the other side, does it lean probably one way? But you're still going to get hurt on the other side if you try and shadow all the time.
But ultimately, that comes back to Stoy's point of, can you protect Burrow for long enough to take advantage of
those?
Right, because if they want to play off coverage right now, offensive coordinator mind, I'm getting the ball to Chase in the open field. Give me 7 yards, but maybe give me 50. That's 100%. Right. So if I'm the Rams, I'm allowing their best playmaker to catch the ball in space, which they will definitely throw the ball to him in space, and they'll let Mixon get into space. Those are their two best space playmakers.
Space guys.
Whereas, now I'm going man-to-man. I'm going to lock up Jalen Ramsey, which we haven't seen a ton of from the Rams this postseason at all. But now, to your point, you've got Higgins and Boyd against a mismatch, because the Rams secondary outside of Jalen Ramsey, I know the other three guys, they're not guys that are going to win one-on-one.
They're not.
And
we would say
you can beat
guys.
those safeties. Weddle wants to come down and hit somebody.
That's all he wants to do.
And he's really good at it.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to be able to run against the front seven, let alone having Weddle come down. So to me, that's a non-factor. It's a factor if you can make him involved in the passing game, of which you can burn him and score touchdowns.
So if you're Bengals, are you coming out more three wide because Uzman's not there? Because he's the seam guy, obviously.
Right.
I think you have to. Mm-hmm. I think you force the Rams
have to use his legs as well.
I think you force the Rams to man up at some point and let Burrow run. Burrow's going to have to run more often than he has in the past. Mm-hmm. probably because there's going to be pressure in his face, and then second because that's what's going to beat him.
Right.
And from a defensive standpoint, I'm coming out in. I would probably come out if they have this in their defensive scheme, of course.
Right.
I would have Ramsey follow Chase to jam him, but I would fall back in the zone in the first probably couple drives to get a feel what my D line's doing. Assuming they don't just go down and score, obviously they do that, then I'm changing it up. Right. But I want to know what my D line's doing. I want to know if this zone is. I want to know if Burrow can really truly pick us apart. But I'm gonna have Ramsey go with him from every standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with that, and then then let the game happen. Then you can pull your punches later.
I mean, I think the Bengals have to. They have to realize where their strengths are, which there's going to be opportunities to run the football, but you need to make sure you're running behind your strength.
Yeah.
I think they have better opportunities to run against spread than they do, button them up inside and try to overpower them. I just don't think that's going to happen. And again, like I said, more of the West Coast style of make sure you take what they're giving you. If they're going to play off coverage, make sure you get Chase's touches early and frustrate the pass rush.
Have to.
Yeah. So,
it tires them at the same time.
Right. And, like the screens, the quick hitches where the defensive linemen are turning and running to tackle, like those add up.
They do.
And,
they suck.
Yeah, like Aaron Donald running after Mixon all the way out to the sideline after Chase on a jailbreak screen, that type of thing. Like, let that add up. Von Miller, let those, years of pass rush add up on him over the first 2-3 quarters.
Yeah.
Take your shots when you have them. Be aggressive, but at the same point, make sure that you're getting the most out of, drives that maybe end in a punt or in a field goal, making those guys work the whole game and not just going 5-step drop, 7-step drop, letting them pin their ears back and go get Burrow. And I think even if it doesn't result in a ton of points in the first half, that's what the Bengals have to do.
Even if they get down, because they'll be able to come back.
Right. And, you hope that they don't panic because it's the Super Bowl. Like, that's the other thought in the back of my head is, now we're at the Super Bowl.
Uh-oh.
Does Zach Taylor panic?
Because they're all young.
We start trying to they don't have
the coach, the quarterback. They're young.
But you've made it through the playoffs not panicking. So can you continue not to panic by sticking to that plan, knowing that our second half plan is better than the other teams because so far that's proven to be the case. So stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. We're going to wear this guy out. We're going to wear this guy out. We're going to bait them into playing a different coverage, whatever it is, know that we've got a better plan than they do. And if it only results in 10 first half points, that's fine. And if we happen to break a couple plays and we get 17, 21, we're ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Our defense is going to make
their adjustments.
Plays. Now, the real question to me is, one, is Cam Akers healthy? Because he's a different back than Sony Michel. From a game-breaking standpoint, and two, will the Rams commit to running the ball if he is? Because the Bengals they're fine against the run, and they've been very good for the most part. But I don't feel like they've been tested against the run. And it's when you got the athletes that you do that we've talked about for the Rams, it's hard to not just drop back and throw it to them. But ultimately, I think that's where the Rams can win the game is just. Out physical. Yeah. Now we take our shot. Which guy do we want to take a shot to? They want to double cup, take the shot to Odell. They want to, shade the outside.
Drop 8.
Can we take Jefferson down the middle? And the Rams have done all of that all year. But can they stay patient? Which Stafford has done a very good job of. He's taken more sacks in the playoffs and he's more throwaways. Right. And people may look at that and be like, it's
it's good for him.
That's actually good football.
Yeah.
Because he's not throwing pick sixes and
only had
throwing
one
interception.
And that one, should he try to feed that?
Right,
no,
right.
That's a good play. No, should he have thrown that? No.
It was actually bad accuracy, not necessarily a bad throw.
Right. It was, exactly. So that wasn't him being aggressive. That was that was a mistake.
So I look at that and say, he's developed from that perspective. So can they stick with a game plan and then overcome the Bengals' second half adjustments, which we know they're going to make? But like the Rams are the better team.
Right.
And they should win, but
and they have the experience.
I cannot convince myself of that for the life of me.
So Joe Burrow's played in so many quote unquote biggest game of my life games. Mm-hmm. And you can people can discount this however which way they want to, but I think now that the college football season has a playoff structure and he's played through that playoff structure, won a national title. He's now playing in a playoff structure now in the NFL, playing in the biggest game of his life type deal. Mm-hmm. I think college is now setting quarterbacks up like that to be in a better position. You know, when Stafford was playing, they didn't have that.
Right.
So I think.
Well, and he played for the Lions.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in college.
No, yeah.
You know, he played at the University of Georgia, who probably would have made the playoffs, during that. Right. But so I think Joe Burrow has, when you talked about it, what are they going to do in this biggest game of his life? And that dude has just every single time calm, cool, collected, ice in his veins. He pulls out his gat, his dances that he's always doing.
So, like, better chance that Stafford chokes than Burrow because of that? Like, Stafford's now in the moment that he's been waiting for his whole life. Like, more pressure. More pressure on Stafford for sure than Burrow.
Pressure-wise, yeah, but I don't think it gets to him. Not this late in your career.
Right, and the guy's
and the way he's been playing
nothing but lights out.
I think Burrow,
fourth quarter comebacks.
If you're going to see a quarterback have some type of emotion, it's going to be Burrow.
Yeah,
because
we don't anticipate it from either one. With that, which that's kind of cool. To like,
we don't.
We're not talking
but if it's
about
going to
Garoppolo
happen,
or
right.
it's crazy.
That's just 100% know with that. Right.
It's crazy that you mentioned that though. Like not anticipating it from either one with guys in complete separate places in their career. Mm-hmm. Burrow, young gunner. Is he going to make mistakes? No, we don't anticipate that. Stafford, savvy vet. Like, is it first time being here? And you know, he's now here. He's at the epitome of where he wants to be. I don't think so.
It's not a quarterback conversation. Like this is
awesome,
not a quarterback game.
Right? Like that's
it's
where
awesome.
This is truly not it.
I think that's why I like this game. So it's awesome.
But that's why, like,
because you're not talking about who's going to make the mistake from the quarterback perspective. It's more game plan. It's more execution. It's more, and like both teams have proven they can and can't in certain areas. My problem is like, can the Rams put it away early enough so that their faults on putting games away don't matter?
Right.
Or do the Bengals hang around long enough for a McPherson miracle?
Right. It just feels like a. It feels like a coaching front seven kicker. One of them is the letdown. It is not a quarterback. It's not a running back. That's not the letdown to me. It's going to be some dumb coaching mistake, which if we're going to lean, I'm going with McVay. He's been there. He's done the mistake, by the way, in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So I'm going to go that way. Kicker-wise, someone's going to, streaks have to end at some point.
That's why you draft a kicker.
Are you ready to make your pick?
Are you ready
I'm
to
make this?
Yeah, I've had my pick since watching the games.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not. My confidence level is
so
pretty high.
So none of this conversation has changed anything for you?
No, it's it's the same thought the entire time.
Okay, that's fair. Ryan, same thing for you
since last week. That is
the only thing that like more and more. No, not necessarily. A little bit. Okay. But the only thing that I think it's done for me is it's made the gap a lot smaller.
Okay, that's
for me.
You? Sure. Has it done anything to you?
I'm still in the same
still
spot.
in turmoil.
See this fence? Like I'm still like
head
walking
says
it.
one thing, heart says the other.
Yeah, I'm doing one of these on the fence.
What?
I still can't fall.
We're going with the heart, baby.
Ooh,
all right.
So, Stoy, you want to start us?
Absolutely. Let's give me the only problem we didn't talk about was the total,
which is -4 or
48.5.
Sorry, not -4.
48.5.
Yeah,
I'll take the over.
-4.
Locked it in, baby.
If they run back
48.5.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about that. We haven't talked about that piece.
No, but I think it's to me it's the same thing with that as anything else. Is that it's right in a spot where to me this game's either 24-21 or 27-24, and whichever side of that you're on, congratulations, you won the bet.
Oh, you're not wrong.
And
you're not wrong.
The whole I've been in a tailspin because of that. It's like, well, are they going to kick a field goal or are they going to score a touchdown at that moment? And that's going to be the over-under.
Yeah.
And to me, that's right where this game is. And it's the same thing with the line. Like, if it was 2.5 one way or the other, then I can make more of a conviction. The 4 is it's too many in my opinion. But
precarious. It'll go down like 3.5. I bet 3.
Well, because it opened at 4.5, went down to 3.5, and it ended at 4.
It'll get down there.
I don't think so.
I mean, we're picking on a
Sharp
Tuesday.
money's been on the Rams though.
Right, but public hasn't come in yet. It'll go down. It might come back.
The public's going to impact it though that much.
This one, yeah, the
public the game in LA is
that's the
You're
public.
that's not going to get as much enough of a public.
I still think it'll do it.
Is it why you're not going to get as much, or is it why you're go?
No, because it's going to go heavy Rams if it does, because all the rich people are going to be like, I'm betting on the home team.
Right.
Here's $1 million or something.
And because I think like the amateur bet is Burrow. Like everybody loves Burrow. Everybody loves a good underdog story. Which is so like that's amateur money.
Right.
Like, that's why all the sharps
there enough of it?
came in, and that's why it went back to 4 when it did.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why it went up to 4.5. Then it came.
I still think it gets to 3.5, though. I just think.
I don't like
just because it's that weird number.
I hate both. I don't like either.
Just because it's a bad number. Yeah.
It doesn't affect my picks anyways. All right.
Here he goes.
Rams over.
Like final score prediction.
Okay.
That one's so tough for me.
I
think the Rams are going to be up 10 late. I really do. I think it's going to be comfortable for them.
Okay.
And then that's why the 4 doesn't help me, because I really think, since will they go field goal and then half to score a touchdown? Will they go touchdown and field goal? I think that's how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right in that 27-24 range. I can see the Rams getting to 30 if they get like 2 strip sacks in another, like a pick. Like they've got to do some turnovers to get there.
Short field type of stuff.
But man, that 27-24 is really, I can hone in on that.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's going to be 27-17 fourth quarter somewhere. And then again, field goal or touchdown.
Right.
I'm going to lean that they go field goal because they get stuffed trying to go, and then they're like, okay, screw it, field goal, onside kick.
Right.
Then who knows what happens. This enough season, it'll go to OT.
But even if you get like a 27-20, 27-17, they kick a field goal. Let's say Rams go down, seal it with a field goal, 30-20. You're still in the over type thing.
That's where I'm at with it.
I understand
that's
that.
where I'm at with it.
So, do you want to make a final score prediction?
Oh, should we do those?
I think we should. It's one game.
Well, how about we do the picks first, and then we'll back up. We'll back.
I put you on the spot with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Ryan, what do you think, bud?
So this is where I'll do my coaching plug. I like the Rams to win this game. I like the Bengals to cover the spread. I like the over as well. The reason I like the Rams is because I want Kevin O'Connell to bring some Super Bowl magic into Minnesota.
Okay.
So I'm leaning the Rams there.
100% makes sense. That's Rams-O coordinator.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the ball game, but
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, when I heard the name, I didn't know who that. Like when he got hired, I didn't know who the name was.
Right.
And then I put so just for those out there wondering why Ryan's rooting for a guy. That's the new guy in Minnesota.
Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, we've got a lot of.
And honestly, I can bring it back to a little bit of NFC North love with Stafford. I mean, Vikings played him for so long, and I mean, I've never hated Stafford. Like, there's been other quarterbacks in there where I'm like, I just don't want to ever play him.
He's not a guy you
Not
hate,
that I don't like him, but I just know that we're gonna be like Stafford's just. I think he's always been a really good quarterback. He just has been in an unfortunate situation.
He's played through injuries. Like, he's never been a prima donna about anything.
Yep.
He's done what he's done. And for a guy that has a lot of frat boy pictures online and stuff like that, he's never really come across like that in the NFL. So, and obviously his wife's been through a lot. So, he's a guy that you root for. She had a brain tumor.
It's really easy to root
he's
for
overcome that. So,
it's
not a tough guy to really no reason to root against the guy.
Right.
It's one of those you hope both guys throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, and somehow the game can end in a tie, and we can all run off and sing Kumbaya. But I can't go against my man, Joey Burrow. Smoking darts, breaking hearts in L.A. He went in. I mean, if you can go into Kansas City when the Chiefs are playing their best ball of the year, spot them 18 points. And granted, your defense has something to do with that. They got a stop late for whatever reason.
They were also the same defense
decided to
who spotted them 18.
And also didn't, they gave up 3 points in the second half. So big ups to that defense coming around. But the dude has been nothing but nails in this playoffs and really all season. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals were projected to get a top 3 pick at the beginning of the season. Like, that's how improbable it is that they are here. Like, there were national pundits, multiple, who thought they were getting a lottery pick.
Right.
And and they're right now a game away from being Super Bowl champions.
4 quarters.
So, all of the things being said, I can't convince myself that the Rams are going to find a way to close a game against a guy who seems destined to win this Super Bowl for whatever reason.
Right.
Titans had no business beating them. Or they had no business beating the Titans. They had no business beating the Chiefs. And they beat the Chiefs twice.
Oh.
And, they beat the Ravens twice. Like, they fought through a tough division. Like, they've been battle-tested, and I don't see the moment being too big for them. Zach Taylor, to me, is their biggest
weakness
question mark. So can the coach get in their way? God, I hope not. But when you've got the kicking game, to me, it's a close game. So kicking game plays a lot in my mind here. I don't think Matt Gay is 100% healthy. There's no big reports on that, but if you watch him kick, he hasn't been kicking a lot of touchbacks, and the guy's got a strong leg. So there's something definitely wrong, and I just don't think he's going to be healed. And there is nobody with more confidence in the world right now than Evan McPherson.
Correct.
That dude is on a tear. I think you line him up from 60, and he's hitting maybe 10 in a row.
Well, that being said, though, he's young.
Right. He doesn't know any better.
He misses one. Can that crumble?
Well, right. It can.
That's.
I'll wait till next year.
I'll wait till next year.
If he was in Minnesota, yeah. He
doesn't play for the Vikings or the Falcons. He should be good.
Well, we don't miss. We have great kickers. What are you talking about?
And Romo is not holding for him, so we should be all right.
Should be all right.
Last week he made a comment about that during the game.
Through his hands.
Yeah.
The only question I have on the over-under on this game, to me, is going to be, I think the Rams should be able to score. They should be able to run the ball. They should be able to throw the ball. They're going to take a couple sacks here and there. Can Stafford, the Bengals need to get a couple of short fields. I don't really know if they can. So in that, it stays under for me, and it's more of a 24-21, 24-20
just barely under.
It's both teams are scoring in the 20 in my mind, and that's the problem is that
low 20s or high 20s. That's it.
I think because I'm picking the Bengals, I'm picking the under.
Smart.
But
smart.
Would I rather see a game that ends 30-27? Absolutely. Again, with McPherson kicking the game winner from 55
from 64.
As time expires.
You'll love my breakdown of my score.
Whatever that number is. But give me the Bengals. Give me Joey B going in and getting things done.
Yeah.
And I'll take the under. Just, teams getting a lot of feel in the first half and just not a lot of points in the first half.
There is a lot. As much as there can be in one game, there's a lot of we're all over the map with our picks.
Oh, and I think this game in general, I haven't heard any takes even where it's just
no one can do it. It's one of those games.
Well, if you watch the NFL playoffs, there's been one blowout.
There's been 4, but at the end,
sorry.
There's been 4 blowouts in the last 2 weeks, but they just end really, really tight.
So either way, teams that find a way
to do something, crumble
other
or
than
succeed.
The Cardinals got blown out.
Yeah.
In the very the wild card round, and besides that, the games have come down to a possession. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm probably missing a game, but
Cowboys.
well, I mean, they still got to botch the official, which in watching that,
But it wasn't. It wasn't like close.
So in all the other games,
Yeah.
when they do that, the clock thing, it's not the back judge that spots, or it's not the normal official that spots the ball in those situations. The back judge actually comes in and spots the ball because that just makes sense. So the guy's not running through the line. In the Cowboys game, the back judge does not move, and it's the guy that hits Dak is one of the guys that's standing behind the line of scrimmage because he's coming from behind them. So like that's just flawed mechanics from an officiating perspective. Again, you still had to complete a 35-yard Hail Mary with time
on
left
top of
and
that
timeouts in order to win the game. So like that's water
all right.
under the bridge.
So
go Bengals.
Cole's going Bengals. Bengals under.
Who dey?
And we're locked. Nope.
No.
Oh, I see Cincy.
I
With Cincy on the spread.
Yeah, a little love everywhere.
Okay, cool. All right, score, Ryan.
So I like it. So I like the over, and clearly my over pick is I'm going way over on it. I think, but I like 30-28 Rams.
Yeah.
I think so. This is my prediction on it. This is my hot take prediction on it. The Rams are going to be up 30-22. Joey B is going to come down. He's going to score. They're going to have to go for two. It's not necessarily going to be in McPherson's hands anymore. They're going to have to go for two and not get two.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, that's
I like
good.
that.
I will go 24-23 Bengals. That sounds better than 24-21.
That's great.
I should go 25-22.
Yeah, you should.
24-23.
Is that scoregami? 24-22?
24-23 Bengals, please.
I know.
Oh, sorry, yes.
I know my breakdown has Bengals scoring late, but there's just something about 31-21. It just sounds good.
Okay.
But I think it'll probably be like 31-24. But that's what it'll be. 31-21.
That's your strip sack.
It's a strip sack at the end, except for them scoring.
Type,
Yep.
like close game.
That's
like
fair.
They get a
Put it on the
touchdown.
D-line.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
So I can't argue with that at all.
All right, boys.
So
There it is.
you're saying the Rams are going to be up 23-21. Joey B is going to drive them down the field. McPherson hitting a 40.
I mean, I would love for it to be like a 65-yard bomb.
He's hitting a
I
50.
went like a 60,
Or just
I like
like a-
68, 69.
a
Just
20
like a record setting.
22-yard chip shot.
He does it backwards
Run
with
it-
his left
just
foot.
Run it down. He
all
goes to the camera.
Let's go.
We're going to Walt Disney.
Prop bet?
What is it? We're going to Disney World? Is that what they say?
Going to Disney World.
I only
Is
have
that really that big a deal for those guys?
No, because they go all the time.
You would
If they
think
want,
that
if they
would
have
just
kids.
own their own park.
I'm
if
sure
they wanted
Stafford's been there a couple times. All right,
to. Prop bets.
prop bets.
Okay.
Shoot them out there, boys. I only have two.
One of my favorite ones, I think, either team to score a touchdown on the first drive is plus 114. I think they're going to do it. So I'm going to take that one.
You like a touchdown on the first drive?
Yeah.
I saw that. I don't like it. I like a score. I wouldn't mind a score on the first drive, but let's
do them in groups so it's a lot easier for us to understand.
right. So my first one is plus 108, and it is Bengals to get the first down.
Okay.
They're
Plus 108. All right.
Okay.
And it can't
plus
like
money to get, which I mean that's
that one
50-50
can't be
to get
swayed. Yeah.
they get the ball first, and I'm like, well, I mean, if you're getting plus money, I mean that's
I have 5 of them written down that I really, really like,
the
actually.
first drive is scripted. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, find a way to get a first down, especially if the Rams come out and not allowing the big play type of thing. Like, get a first down or two and then make them punt, whatever it is. So I like that more than the first score because I looked at both of those. So
That's fair. Still, you got one, or yours more player props?
No, I go.
Okay.
Hold on. Where'd it go? I actually kind of close to yours. Points scored in the first 3 minutes, plus 880. Yeah, there's gonna be points scored in the first 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that first drive, they're going to get down. They're going to either kick a field goal or
plus what now?
Plus 880.
Oh, wow.
I
Seriously?
like that.
Scored in the first 3
All
minutes.
right. All right. I
If
like
someone's scoring on their first drive, it's not slow and methodical.
Right.
It's
No,
going
I
to be
agree.
quick because of some blowing
That's
something.
just that's a high. I mean,
I know.
I like that number.
that. So we'll keep going around the table.
Bengals first down is down to plus 100. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
I'll have to look at some of these again then, because clearly they're getting bet.
My next one, I'm going to go off of Ryan from the 2-point conversion, plus 118 that a 2-point conversion attempt happens. It doesn't have to be successful. Just one of the two teams has to attempt a 2-point conversion. I think that's happening in the game.
Okay. I have to find this next one to make sure that it's still at the same line. But when I looked earlier, it was total third down conversions over 10.5. It's minus 106. The Rams had 11 last game alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Actually, just
a lot of third downs in this game.
I added a third one that's just out there. But my second one is, will either team convert a fourth down attempt in their own territory? Plus 270 for yes. That's the Bengals late on their 45-40.
That's
all it takes.
Being aggressive out
in both teams.
45.
That's at plus 270.
Yeah, I don't
it's
mind.
Gonna
that.
happen.
I don't mind that.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna talk it into existence.
It probably happened in the first possession.
It already did.
All right. Put the bet. I won. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Look at that winning already.
Winner.
Chicken dinner.
I have. So my one is just that's
What's
my one. I talked to you.
What's your outrageous one? Let's go outrageous ones because I have one too.
I want to do
one
more non-outrageous.
Okay, do it.
Tied for my favorite. Two of them are tied for my favorite.
All right. Pull the trigger.
First one is Joe Mixon under 63.5 rushing yards. It's at minus 122 last I checked. The Rams haven't given up over 65 rushing yards to any running back in the playoffs.
I would agree with that.
So it's going over. Records are meant to be broken. Yes.
And then probably equally tied on that one. It's a combo one. Story loves these combo ones. Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp to combine for over 200 yards at plus 115.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a one
It says Kupp MVP and is that
so
the same line?
No.
Okay.
No, that was a plus.
That was different
because it was going to be plus, and I couldn't find the odds on it.
That's one talked about. I love Chase Kupp 200 plus.
For some reason, I can't find it right now. The other one that I really liked earlier in the week, it was total sacks in the game was 5.5. And I can't. Yeah, I can't seem to find that anymore. But
Stafford's going out at least twice.
Right,
and bro.
Yeah,
it's in between like 9 and 4.
Right. So if you can find that, I would highly suggest playing that at anything. I would say anything under 7. I would definitely play the over on total sacks in the game.
There's gonna be a lot of them.
But I can't find that number anymore.
Outrageous.
What do you are?
God, there's two of them.
What's your number starting at outrageous? Or are you just going with outrageous as in we're going to say, wow, that's outrageous when you say it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I don't think you'll say, wow, it's outrageous. I think you'll say more on the, I don't know.
Either team to score on their first offensive play plus 4,300. Give it to me.
That is insane that has better odds than what mine is.
What is yours? I'm now needing to find a plus 10,000.
Right.
Safety. Fine. Safety. First scoring play.
No.
It's
yeah. Go ahead. No, you're fine.
Play, plus 43. Okay.
Yep. No. First offensive play. How is that higher than the first scoring play? Or lower than first scoring play?
First offensive play for either team.
Yep.
Is plus 4,300.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. They've got to take into consideration that
kickoff counts.
Well, and also like if you were to get a sack fumble and the other team
first offensive play. Offensive play.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But if Bengals get the ball first, they get a sack fumble.
Oh, right on the one.
Like Stafford gets the ball on the one.
Got you. Yeah. That makes sense.
That's first offensive play, right?
That's fair.
Like that would still be a winner.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's why it's as low as it is.
Right.
Yeah. So mine is at plus 4,500. Cooper Kupp to score the first touchdown and Jamar Chase to score the second touchdown.
Yeah. I would play both sides of that. Because you can. So if you're going to throw a little at one, I would throw a little at both because you don't want to be mad when the Bengals get the ball first and Chase goes down and scores. And then Kupp goes down and scores. Yeah. Like if you're going to play one, play both.
Right.
Let me see.
All right, boys.
Don't try to be a wise guy with that one.
I'm trying to.
What's my favorite plus 6,000? You know, they're all some type of combination, but like a Burrow, Stafford, one of the two to have 500 plus yards passing. In what just becomes a shootout, it's plus 6,500.
Okay. So we talked about secondary wide receivers, and this one's kind of fun in that plus 10,000 range of T. Higgins to score the first touchdown and Odell Beckham Jr. to score the second touchdown.
It's not outrageous, though.
It's kind of fun to look at that as
you guys. This one, first scoring play, touchdown minus 164, field goal plus 128,
and I would take that.
Safety is plus 10,000.
Especially as much as the Bengals
give me the field goal,
early field goals.
Sprinkle on a safety.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you at plus 10,000?
Right.
Gosh,
absolutely.
All right, boys. Super Bowl.
Go
Rams. Stay in the NFC.
Hooday! Nation.
Hooday. All right, everybody. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are on this. I mean, obviously we had a pretty good debate on, and none of us are extremely confident in what these are because
absolutely always in my picks.
But let us know what your guys' are. Do you guys like the Bengals? Are you riding the hot hand with Joey Burrow, or are you staying, calm, cool, and letting Matt Stafford be smart and picking maybe the safer choice and Sean McVay over Zach Taylor? But as always, like, subscribe, follow, share. Any social media that you can find us on: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Any of our podcast platforms, we're going to be on there. Comment, DM us, talk as much smack as you want. Well, next time when we recap, we'll jump into golf season.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's time.